BPA in February 2017. At that time, the project had been completed and they had been generating electricity for 4 years. There had not been any serious or major issues, engineering issues for them to deal with, and things were running quite smoothly. The Chinese contractors left behind a few Chinese who were to work with us. Their term ended 4 or 5 months after I took over, and I made it a point that the Ghanaian engineers and technicians had worked with them for 4 years and they should be able to carry on with the assignment, and so refused to renew their contract. And they have, I mean, our Ghanaian engineers have acted with discipline and they managed the plant so well to date. And I do not think that anybody has found any fault with it. We do bring in some eminent engineers across the globe every year to come and do inspection at our course, both to look at our systems and infrastructure and make some professional statement as to the integrity of the dam and the nature of the systems that we've adopted, whether they are in tune with international standards or not. And so far, I think we've been working quite creditably.
Yeah, your decision to terminate the contract with
not to terminate, but to refuse to renew.
To refuse to renew the contract for the Chinese, and now instead of expatriates, you decided that you were going to use the engineers who have probably been trained by this Chinese. How has that helped to make savings?
Well, I mean, in terms of the job content itself, I was confident in our own engineers and technicians. 2 months down the road, when I started work, I knew that they were capable of running the plant without any external assistance. And I think the records have vindicated me. We have saved ourselves some tremendous amount of money, a couple of millions of dollars. But beyond that, I mean, I think the most critical thing is to generate confidence in in our own local staff and get them to do greater things. And as we move along, we'll talk about Chechedu, which was designed and been built solely by our engineers and technicians. This kind of arrangement that you put in place to inspire the workers and let them have confidence in themselves to become better employees and also engineers and technicians for the country. And so in terms of that, you can't even quantify that. But in relation to the financial benefits, not less than $2 million in terms of savings. And I think I feel very proud about that.
So somebody would have decided to maintain them, but you chose not to renew the contract. You were banking your hopes on confidence. Why?
Well,
what did they do to prove that indeed, if you let them do, they will be able to live up to expectation?
Okay, at the time that we were building the dam in 2008, 2009, the initial stages, we combed around to see whether there are engineers and technicians who have experience in dam construction. We didn't get any. And for me, the answer then lied in getting a bunch of young engineers who had just finished school and without much experience and bring them so that they learn on the job. And we took, at that time, in 13 civil engineers who, in reality, we didn't need that many engineers. But the whole idea was to expose as many engineers as possible and young ones to the experience of dam construction. Then, before the dam was also completed, I started it, brought in a couple of mechanical and electrical engineers, and the gentleman who followed me, or I took over from him the second time round, also pursued the same principle. 1 year before the finish of the dam, we took over 30 technicians and engineers to VRA for them to be trained in the both in maintenance and operations of the dam itself. And in the main, by the time I got back, they were quite adept and responsible for whatever they were doing. I didn't think that we needed to pay extra money to keep some other people to give oversight responsibilities when indeed we had all the technical competencies within the country. And so it's a decision that, as I'm saying, I feel proud of. And I was convinced that we're not going to have any major problems that we couldn't handle. I mean, so far, we've been handling all the maintenance issues except the A-level maintenance scheme, which means you strip the entire unit down to the basic core, the concrete core, and reassemble them. That is where we have had to call back the contractors to assist us in the process. And I'm sure in another 5 years or so, when they have to do a level A maintenance, they'll do this ourselves without bringing in any external or expatriate engineers.